most powerful of all the Egyptian gods was Ray. He is the creator of life, love, and beer in this world and the next.
Dear mother, the church is cold, but the alehouse is healthy and pleasant and warm. Besides, I can tell where I am used well. Such usage in heaven will never do well. I'm a little vagabond, but if at the church they would give us a meal and a pleasant fire our souls to regale, we'd sing and we'd pray all the livelong day, nor never once wish from the church to stray. I'm a little vagabond, and then the parson might preach and drink and sing, and we'd be as happy as birds in the spring. And modest Dame Lurch, who was always at church, would not have banded children, nor fasting, nor birch. I'm a little vagabond, and God, like a father, rejoicing to see his children as pleasant and happy as he, would have no more quarrel with the devil or the barrel, but kiss him and give him both drink and apparel. I'm a little vagabond, dear mother, the church is cold, but the alehouse is healthy and pleasant and warm. Besides, I can tell where I'm used well. Such usage in heaven will never do well. I'm a little vagabond.
Sitting in bars and cafes, writing songs about songs and plays within plays, but how rarely we dare to write something that says anything about bars and cafes. Be true to your bar and don't let it down, or else it may not always be around. Be true to your friends and let your friends know without your bar you'd have no place to go. You can't drink tea all day long. You'll have 2 heart attacks before you write the 3rd song. And how barely you'll care if the rhythm's all wrong, drinking Irish breakfast all day long. Eight hours is all you can take.
thanking you all. I wanted to thank you for coming to remember my dad and McNeill's Brewery and everything he built. And I wanted to thank you for reaching out to me over these last 2 weeks and supporting me through this. It's meant so much. I had no idea how many lives he had touched and how much he meant to so many people. And it's a shame I didn't know that until his death, but I am grateful to know it now. And so, thank you for that. Thank you for sharing your stories about the bar and your memories and your pictures. I loved every one of them. And thank you for raising me. My parents were working really, really hard, and I grew up feeling like I was part of this large, extended community back when kids could run around and just have an extended family out there that took care of them in a town like Brattleboro. And I'm really grateful for that. And thank you, Emily, for putting this together. Emily is the one who had to call me the night that the bar was on fire and tell me what was going on. And she texted and called around the clock for the next few days to make sure that I was okay. And then she took every job that she could off of my shoulders. And we're really here today because of her work. I know she outsourced whatever she could, and I'm thankful to the entire crew. There's a large crew of people that made this possible today. I think Eugene was going to start with a piece that he heard my dad play. And so I will just leave it to him. I would like to make enough space for everyone who has something to say to be able to come up and say it. I don't know how many people that's going to be. But we'll try to make space for everyone.
Yeah, I think that's great. Thanks for the t-shirt.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you, everyone.
Hey everybody, my name is Eugene Friesen, and when our family first moved to Brattleboro in the 90s, I was on an early summer morning. I walked down by the brewery and I heard this cello music. And as I got closer, I realized it was coming from the second floor of this amazing McNeill's brewery. And it happened to be playing one of my very favorite pieces by Johann Sebastian Bach. And I stood there below the window, looking at the mountains, looking at this kind of Baroque signage here, listening to the beautiful Bach. And it was just a few minutes, but it's a moment that stands out eternally for me. So I wanted to offer that very same piece that I heard Ray play that morning for you. It's a D minor prelude to Bach. Maybe a bit of something to make sure we're hearing you. That's lovely.
Hello? I got a few things I want to say. First, I want to thank Taylor and Eve. I can't imagine what it's been like these last few weeks. Your words and your willingness to put this together is just amazing. Thank you. So I met Ray and Holiday in the mid-'80s. I was a young hippie kid slinging tofu at a common gun restaurant. They would come in every day for lunch. And I'd serve them rice and beans. They were told me they were putting a pub together. I was like, oh, cool. So we became friends. And soon enough, they were serving me beers every night. So we had a mutual relationship. Tofu, rice and beans, beer at night. And they soon realized that I liked beer as much or more than I liked tofu. So they gave me a job bartending. This is in the 80s. $3 Dewey's on South Main Street. It was wild. Brattleboro was wild in the 80s. There was bars up and down Main Street, Elliott Street. There was like rock and roll bars, we had the Common Ground, funk and reggae. There were gay bars with drag shows and disco balls, and it was really wild. But Ray and Holiday had something special. They brought the neighborhood pub to Brattleboro. It was very different. It was long tables, there was no TV, there was no Budweiser, and it was right when the craft beer explosion was starting. And it was a really, really special place for people in Brattleboro to get together. And everyone was welcome there, packed every night. It was so busy, crowds just thronged there. They did a great job. Holiday, what you created with Ray was amazing. So I went away for a little while, and I came back, and it was right when they were opening on Elliott Street. And I think I bartended there the third night they were open. And it was crazy. 3 or 4 deep at the bar, like beer everywhere. It was really an amazing place to gather, and the community really rallied around that place. And it was the place to go. And that was even before Ray started making beer. It was like the happening place before the beer was being made. And then the beer started being made, and it's well established how great Ray's beer was. Award-winning beer, not only just in Vermont, but across the country. So it turned into this crazy, crazy scene for the locals, but also tourists. The word was out about McNeill's brewery, and people were flocking from all over New England to come drink that beer. And it wasn't very good at the beginning, let me just say. Just to clear up, the revisionist history of Ray's beer. I would be like, you want to taste that first? And I'd start pouring a catamount or not a cream. But he had a vision, and he was determined, and he was a genius, and he went up to Catamount and interned and learned with Paul Saylor, who I'm sorry isn't here, to make some of the best beer that anybody has ever tasted. It was really incredible. So it was his vision, along with Holiday, and his creativity and his drive. But the biggest thing about Ray was he had a big heart. He really created a special place to come and have a beer and make anybody in town feel welcome. He was a walking paradox as well. He was a grumpy old bastard too. I'm not going to throw any of that. Like some people were like, walked in the bar and he'd say something rude to him, and like, whoa, that's the owner? Yeah. Don't worry about it. Here, let me buy you beer. But Ray was pretty special. He had a big heart. He loved his kids. He always talked about his kids. Taylor and Eve. He was effusive about how much he loved you guys, and would always tell me about what you were up to. You guys asked me about my kids, and then he'd be like, oh, let me show you a picture of your kid. He had a big heart. Big, gentle bear. And it really brought people together. And that vision lasted for, 30, almost 40 years. he still had ideas about what he wanted to do. And he kept the bar going on his own for a while, and then with Ro's help, shout out to Ro. It's a pretty special place to last that long and to go for that long. Bringing people together as a community, as a special place to be who you are, no matter what you were. And here we are again. He's bringing us together one more time. It's like reunion. Some of you I drank with at 3 Dewey's in the 80s. Some of you, the McNeill's community, I just met last week. That's a long tenure of affecting people's lives, showing what community is, really special place. Obviously, look around. It's amazing. So here we are together. Hug your friends. To Ray. Come on. Known Ray longer than I have.
Hey, I'm Joe Muller. I've known Ray since 1988. We didn't start liking each other until 1990. It was a rough time. He was such a dummy. And he gave me a job with Hefty down in the bottling room. And he's like, well, yeah, you can bottle through this cooler and you just gotta pour the beer into these bottles and then slap a fixed label on them. And those are gonna be what we sell. And I tell you, by the end of the shift, I mean, those labels were a little askew. And climbing back up those 3 flights of stairs was a little difficult. And we got to know each other better and better and realized we had a lot of common interests. And he was always thrilled. I'm a writer, and he was thrilled when I got something published. And then I was in Europe, and he gave me a job afterward, saying, I really need a bartender. But I lived in Arlington. But I'm like, I'm going to work for Ray. And I drove out 3-4 times a week to bartend because I wanted to be part of that experience. And that's where I met so many of you. And so many people I love. I was also very, very happy and very privileged to know Ray outside of McNeill's, outside of the bar, outside of beer. I got to ride bikes with him. I got to ride bikes all over with him. Mountain bikes and road bikes and talk bikes. And, you know, he's even stayed at my apartment. And you know, getting Ray out of Brattleboro was difficult. But to get him to come to North Bennington and stay at my place and ride bikes for 50, 60 miles the next day was awesome. I mean, the man is legend in my heart. It kills me to... I talked to him on Thursday night before the fire, and it kills me to meet like this way. It's such a community, and Ray hated poetry. He hated it, but he was always happy when I got something published. He was always like, oh, good for you, Joe. No, I will not read it. What I had written this months before this day, and I told Eve, I sent it to Eve, and she's like, oh my God, that's for this day. I mean, that poem is written for now. And I hadn't realized it. I had no idea. It was very short, so bear with me. It's called Rapture. When all the gods have packed up their sacraments and gone home, when all the lights but one have dimmed, and the mistletoe placed back behind emergency glass, when the tidy rows of bungalows and their backyard gardens, wilting beneath the weight of autumn, plummet into darkness, and no fire burns but coals, we'll pray to the only ones left, ourselves, and face the teeth of the nightmares, the truth to the fear. And I think that's really about community, about how we're supposed to focus on ourselves and how we survive anything. This is one of the things, not only we survive, but we thrive. And Ray would like it like that. I love the man. I'm terrible. I'm so sad that my friend is dead. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. Hi. Molly Malone is one of Ray's oldest and dearest friends, and she's going to play a piece for him.
Saying he wanted to have me, especially as an old timer, and I really am an old timer. Like Chris, I arrived at, well, I arrived in Brattleboro, I think, 83, and I knew Ray Holiday. I don't remember how, but we had a Bennington connection. I didn't go there, but I studied with Fred Baker and the whole music thing. And I remember going over to $3 Dewey's. So excited to see what they had made, and it was just such a world. And this town was magic, like Chris said. It was wild. I'm so proud to be a part of it. After 2 weeks ago, there was a lot of shock, a lot of grief. I got that thing, the sort of sick thing that has been going around, and so my voice totally shot. I wanted to sing some things that were really soaring, with a beautiful high G. The high G is way gone. I don't even know if I can do the E flat. So, but because we're in the spirit of welcome, I'm just going to give it a go. And I'm assuming you all are just going to love me anyway. Oh, over into the ground. Going home, going home, I'm going home. Quiet night, some still day, I'm just going home. It's not far, so close by, through an open door. Work all done, care laid by, gone to fear no more. Mother's there, expecting me, father's waiting too. Lots of folks gathered there, all the friends I knew, all the friends I knew. I'm not going home.
Thank you, Molly, for such a beautiful performance that we all know Ray would have enjoyed just as much as we did. Up next, we're going to be hearing from some of the staff members, bartenders, brewers of McNeill's, just a few words, etc. Hefty couldn't make it, but he sent me a statement that I will be reading for all of you, and actually, surprise, surprise, it's pretty tame. But up next, we have Carol and Joanna representing the middle of the McNeill's generation. So.
Hey, look around at y'all. Yeah. I'm not gonna like go all storytelling on right now. Just kind of want everybody to look around. Just look around at yourselves. All right. Now I got some questions. You can either holler, raise your hand, or silent contemplation, whatever. How many have been to McNeill's? Okay, that was an easy one. Okay, how many have met someone very, very important at McNeill's? How many of you made McNeill's your first stop after work? How many of you been out of town made your first stop as soon as you got into town? Yeah, that's right, yeah. How many of you met your best friend here? Yeah. Okay, not as many as I hope, but damn it. I just want to tell you really quick about one of my dearest friends who I met at McNeill's. I was hired after drinking there for several years and watching bartenders do what they did. I kind of knew the job inside out before I stepped back there. And the first night that Ray let me loose, he let me loose on a Thursday night with Miss Jillian Terry, who I had not met yet. She had served me drinks and she had served me other things at Amy's. But we were working together, and she said, "What's up?" I said, "I'm working tonight." She said, "Word." And that was the beginning of what became like instant chemistry behind the bar. We became besties almost instantly. We eventually were getting substituted for Steve Castle and Chris Houston for Friday nights, and eventually took over that Friday night shift, and we had a party every single weekend. It was incredible. And that was like, now today, she's my dearest friend. She cuts my hair. You can't tell right now because I've been under a hat. But to best friends, to community, and at the center of it all, to Ray McNeill.
For those of you who don't know me, I'm Joanna. I started bartending probably about 2003, and I'm going to read because I have ADD, and I will start crying at some point, so I just want to make sure I have a reference. Stay with me. When I met Ray McNeill, I was 22 or 23, which is the same age as my grown son is now. He came to Amy's one day, where I was working at the time, and he was a regular customer, and asked me if I'd like a job bartending. I replied that while I appreciated the offer, I didn't have any bartending experience. And without missing a beat, he said, "That's okay, none of my bartenders do." And thus began my time at McNeill's, or my paid social life, as I used to call it. I had my son Sam, just 3 months shy of my 21st birthday, and what Ray's Home for Wayward Souls offered me was a chance to take a step sideways into what my life might have been like if I hadn't had my boy so young. I had moved here from the Flatlands just 3 or 4 years earlier, and Ray gave me this unique opportunity to meet and fall in love with my community. And some of the friends that I made are still some of my best friends to this day. For the next handful of years, it's where I'd spend so many of my joyful moments. If I close my eyes and think about it, I can still smell the unique blend of spent hops and innocence. We were innocent, right? Once upon a million years ago, my dad came up to visit me while I worked there. And I didn't have a great relationship with my dad growing up. Truth be told, we don't really know each other well at all. But we had beer in common. And by the end of the night, my dad was literally singing show tunes with Alfred. Cozied up to the And I remember saying out loud, "That is what it means to visit Brattleboro." That visual was it. If you'd never been to McNeill's and sang with Alfred and or the ever-changing cast of barkeeps, you've never really been to Brattleboro. And while I could spend hours recounting some of the hazy shenanigans that went down in those handful of years that I worked there, in the interest of keeping things short and giving some time to someone more qualified than myself, I just say that if I had a time machine that only went backwards in my own lifetime, there's really nowhere else I'd rather spend a Friday night. Fast forward to 2 weeks ago, when my phone rang and Sam told me what was going down. I was devastated. And we all have our, where were you when you heard that Tower 1 went down after 9/11 moments? This felt like that. This was the only thing that struck my soul in such a deep and significant way in my life since then. The impact really hit me in just that same way. What Sam said next was, "When I heard, I ran up here as if it was my childhood home." I'm sharing this moment not to bring us down, but because I know you can all relate to that statement. Sam remembers coming to McNeill's as a child of 4 or so, not yet being able to see up over the bar, and Ray giving him Halloween candy. The fact that a young one who had never been old enough, while it was open, to legally drink in this establishment was so drawn to it, so impacted by it. It speaks volumes. Ray was a brother to me, to all of us, an uncle to my son, and a deeply woven piece of our family tapestry. My husband grew up as Sam did, as a kid at Dewey's, not yet big enough to see up over the bar. I spent the following days, as many of you did, devastated, dissociated, just as I did in those post-9/11 days. I almost felt guilty for how many, I'm sorry.
We love you, Joanna. We love you!
I found my place. I almost felt guilty for how completely heartbroken I was. Like, did I even have a right to be as heartsick about a place that I had worked 15 or more years ago? About losing a friend and former boss who I hadn't seen in a lot longer than it should have been. I mean, has there ever been another job that you've had in your past where if something like this had happened, you would be so completely distraught? In the days and weeks that followed, friends and former coworkers from that time in my life have reached out and reconnected, offering sweet memories and words of comfort. I was messaging back and forth with Harold a few days afterwards, and it really hit me. That was never a bar. It was never just a job. That was our home, our brother. And this is family, and that's why it's different. And this is why you're all here, because family is forever. Ray McNeill was a complex creature, as many here have stated, but as grumpy as our brother could be at times, he really didn't have a backbone in his body. In talking to Harold, I was also reminded of one crazy night, a decade and a half or more ago, when our long-gone brother Nashville Nick threw. Where our long-gone brother Nashville Nick threw a pint glass through the large plate glass window in front of the bar. When the cops later asked Ray if he would like to press charges, he simply replied that a good friend had a bad night. And somewhere just beyond the veil, they're both sharing a good belly laugh right now. In closing, I would like to offer us all the opportunity to take some of Ray McNeill's grace with us. Love hard, forgive easier, and be filled with gratitude that you are all part of this big, crazy extended family that Ray helped us to create. It's bigger than any building, and it's forever. I love you guys.
Oh my goodness, Joanna. We asked you to speak, but goddamn. Hot goddamn. So we're gonna have a few more people come up. Up next is Cindy, who has a really quick ditty to offer. And we just love you all. This is more than anything a celebration of love. Even if Ray couldn't always tell us or articulate exactly how he loved us, he showed it in so many tiny, tiny, stupid, annoying instances, consistently, that made it so hard not to love him, but that, like, you can see it here. We all have good stories and we have bad stories, but mostly we have good stories. Thank you for coming out. Thank you for all of your love. This is actually a celebration of Ray. Happy Ray Day!
Hi. All right, so I'm going to be really quick about this. I'm going to sing a little song prayer. It's a song written by John Anderson. It's off his Song of Seven album. But first, I want to say a bit about Ray and music. I first saw Jatoba at McNeill's. I first saw social medication at McNeill's. The first time my band, Alafia, called Fenabo at the time, played at McNeill's, it was because when we walked in and said, hey, can we bring in an 11-piece Afrobeat band and put it in that back corner by the men's bathroom for the international celebration? Ray said, sure. And we did. And the floor was literally bouncing that night from the energy and the love. My memories of McNeill's are about community, connection, and music, so I just wanted to share this song with you. I catch my breath because I'll fall in just a second. Thanks, Joanna. This song of evening's light would charge my memories to flight. The trees that listen, swift wings to carry on through constant gardens, they offer delight. If you see the evening in deepest woods and ferns, young deer step light on morning mist. Ascend the swallows. First light streams through the treetops, bouncing as the flowers in leaves. The breath of morning. This song of ages past, I lay in peace midst grass so green. To reach to skyward, where lights do sing such high delight, seven seas. The days are blessings. The days are blessings. The days are blessings. They're blessings. May you be blessed. If you love them, tell them, folks.
For a number of years and she doesn't age, so that's what's up. I'm normally not rude unless I'm being a dick, but that's okay. Next up is Toby Garland, one of Brattleboro's interlopers that showed up, immediately became a part of the community, so it doesn't matter how long he hasn't lived in Brattleboro, he is a part of this. Ray loved him so hard. He was one of his misfits he took under his wing as Toby learned about brewing, everything. He's going to speak now because he loved Ray almost as hard as the rest of us, but maybe harder, who knows. All right, Toby.
Well, I'm a very busy person. I have 2 jobs and I wasn't able to write anything, so I'm going to freeform this. I fucking love beer. Like a lot. Who doesn't love beer in here? Is there anybody? It's fine if you don't. In 1997, I worked at a bottle redemption place in Montpelier, Vermont. And I was a bottle jockey. And my friend Justin used to sell me beer. And it was, you know, it was the 90s, and I know I'm only 42, but I got McNeill's one time after my shift, and it was like, holy fuck. It was really good. I had Golden Dome, Tonbridge Brewing Company, Sierra Nevada, Beck's beer, ooh. And McNeill's really stood out to me. And in 2001, I was at a Napalm Death concert in Burlington, Vermont, and I met Opie. Does anybody remember Opie? Opie gave me his telephone number, and I drove down to Brattleboro, Vermont to hang out with him. He goes, "You want to play wiffle ball?" And I goes, "Yes." I didn't know Opie was 17 years old, and I was 20 or 21. But I played wiffle ball. I was like, "Is there anywhere to get a beer around here?" And he goes, "Yeah, I can't go in, but there's McNeill's." And I'm like, "Oh, that's the place where I get the beer, where I was working the Redemption Center." I went there, and it was like the most Grateful Dead Cheers bar kind of situation I've ever seen in my life, dude. It was like the most towny microbrew spot I've ever seen. I was like, and I thought I'd been a lot of places, and I'm like 21. I was like, wow. My friends from Goddard College moved down to Brattleboro. I started frequently, and started going to McNeill's, going to McNeill's. And I'm like, wow, Brattleboro is really cool. Started going to Common Ground, blah, 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 blah. And then I got a tractor trailer job down here. So I used to be a tractor trailer driver. And am I doing too long? Give me all right, I'll sum it up real quick. Okay, so I got the tractor trailer job, all right? And people are like, "Where are you moving to?" And I'm like, people are like, "Oh, you're going to Brooklyn? Are you going to Nashville? Going to Brooklyn?" I'm like, "I'm going to Brattleboro, Vermont." They're like, "Oh my God, you're going to Brattleboro, Vermont?" I'm like, "I'm moving to Brattleboro, Vermont." So I moved to Brattleboro, Vermont. I meet 45% of my friends here. Ray McNeill, sum it up real quick, got me in the beer, got me in the breweryana. I learned a lot about beer history. Called Ray McNeill the first day after I did my first shift at the Alchemist Brewer because he got me into brewing. I'm not a brewer, I'm a logistics guy, but Ray got me into beer. And if it wasn't for that wild animal or creature that we love from Brattleboro, I don't know where I would be. Thank you, Alfred. Thank you, Hugh. Thank you, Krista Porter. Thank you, Kevin Fry. Thank you, Otis Rogers. Thank you, Chris Houston, Steve, etc., etc., etc. You know how much I love you. Joanna, Emily.
I had the distinct pleasure of being one of Ray's final barkeeps, along with Alex Salem and James Ladd and Emily. And Ray, before I worked at McNeill's, I had zero professional bartending experience. Ray, I told him that in our first interview, and Ray said, "Well, Peter, I like talking with you, and that's a start. You'll learn the rest as you go. Everything else, just come on." So Ray was great at taking chances, not only a lot of the people I know, he meant the world to a lot more people than could even be in this room today. What hasn't been said already, we played some of our best shows there. And, we didn't always like the same music, of course. Heavy rock and metal wasn't his forte. We did, I know you like Rude Boy Slim and Django Reinhardt, Stephanie Grappelli, little Frank Zappa. But he was always cool, and after COVID shut him down temporarily there, I went over and put in some time at Hermit Rush, and he, no stranger, to come by and hang out with me, check up, and ask him how the music was going, even though, like I said, I don't think it was particularly of his interest. He was still cool at being a supportive man. Look around here, I know, like I said, there's a lot more people that couldn't be here today that love me as much, and just when we hop up today, it was just a pleasure to know the man, to work for him, and be his friend. So, Ray McNeill.
Thank you, Pete.
town church bar. No big deal, I just feel really great about picking towns sometimes. Okay, so one of the mainstays of McNeill's and the love of Ray's life was live music, traditional music. This standing tradition of the pub singers, even when we all sometimes found them annoying. No offense, Amanda, sometimes you were. This is a place of love and truth. Absolute momo share. Still, we have Morris dancers and pub singers here tonight to perform special pieces they chose in their community for Ray, celebrating exactly how they feel about Ray. And so, I am introducing Amanda Whitman, the lead on the pub. Actually, raise your glasses, clap your hands, and give a holler to Tony Morand, who is also no longer with us. We love him, and he was the reason for the pub thing. Like, thank you. This community is amazing, and I'm going to speak a few words, and then all the pub singers can come forward and start singing. Join in. Anyone who knows the words, or even if you hear the notes, we love you. Thank you so much, Amanda.
Thanks, Emily. She knows the drill. If you're at the pub sing and you can follow the words, join in. That's how we do it. So anyone who identifies as a pub singer and wants to step forward, we'll do a couple songs for Ray. I know he would love this. He loved having us there. We also, so I'll just talk for a minute while you're upset this morning. I know we have a live stream going, so I can't stand you right away, but I want to all sing as loud as you possibly can. About a decade ago, Tony Rivers and I approached Ray and said, can we have a pub sing at your pub? We can't pay you anything, and we don't even know if people are going to buy beer, but we really like the space to do music. And you know that Ray knew how to make a space for community to thrive. And he did. He gave us a home, and we had a number of other music sessions there. Some of you might have wandered into them, Quebecois, old time, bluegrass, and Irish, and listening to the slow jam. So, would you all please join me now in singing the song that we have come to know as McNeill's Tale. This song is traditionally sung in all kinds of brew houses and usually named after the brew house where you're singing it. However, from this point forward in Brattleboro, whenever the song is sung, we are going to sing McNeill's Tale no matter where we sing it. To keep the memory of McNeill's alive. that many of you know the rest of the whole thing. Please just sing along. Let's do this for Ray. Of all the money that I had, I spent it in good company. And all the harm that e'er I've done, alas, was done to none but me. And all I've done, for want of wit, to memory now I can't recall. So fills me a parting glass. Good night and joy be with you all. If I had money enough to spend and leisure time to sit a while, there is a young man in this town who sorely has my heart beguiled. His rosy cheeks and ruby lips, they have my heart enthralled. So fill to me the parting glass. Good night and joy be with you all. Of all the brewers there were, there was none so fine as our old Ray. And of all the beers that e'er we shared, we wish for one more beer with Ray. But so it falls unto our lot that we should rise though they should not. We gently rise and softly call. Good night and joy be with you all. To Ray McNeill. And you know somewhere up there, Ray has already built a pub and he's already got Tony there and leading pub song right now.
It doesn't really need to be said, but thank you to the pub singers for all time loving Ray and the pub and that amazing, amazing piece. Thank you. Special announcement. Alfred actually wants to say a few words. Please be kind, nothing is expected, but I give the whole stage to Alfred.
Well, like everyone, when I heard the news last weekend, I was shocked. Ray and I have been through some wading in the waters. Sometimes we've seen eye to eye, and other times we see feather to feather. And I learned a lot about Bear, and I grew a family. When I look out, as I'm looking out now, and as I'm speaking to you guys, this is a family. I've come to Brattleboro, and I've become a member of the McNeill's brewery community. And one more thing I want to add, when I heard that Ray had passed, and then I heard that Christy Alley passed, I said, I know Ray's going to make a beeline for Christy.
Happy birthday, Alfred! Next we have one of Ray's dearest friends that doesn't even actually need to be mentioned, but Rich, please.
Hello, my friends. Hello, my family. We're all related. I love you.
and Ray's a big reason for that. I'm here to represent part of the old guard, the old guys, who would go to that place, and Ray would be there because he started early, to hang out with my friends, my brothers, my community. My wife didn't understand it because she wasn't all about bars. Neither was I. I went there to socialize, not to get drunk. That might have happened once. But it was that third place, other than work and home, is where I went.
The great good place.
The great good place, yeah. No other place like it. I'm not going to say a whole lot here, but I'm really glad to be here with you. I hope I see you all many, many more times in many different places. It's a good place to be. And it's good to have friends. It is so good to have friends, and life is precious. Thank you.
Can you hear me? I wasn't going to share, but I was one of the last persons to see Ray, and particularly for Eve and Tyler, I want to share this wonderful memory. I was at Amanda Whitman's Christmas chorus on Gallery Walk, and I left a little early between 6 and 6:30 to catch a friend's show at a gallery on Elliott Street, and I walked right by McNeill's, and this was like between 6 and 6:30. And standing in the little walkway you go in before you go into the bar were three men, and they were probably around the same age and thick at the girth and baggy clothes and a lot of hair. And I don't know if it was the soft lighting up above, but it gave them like this angelic look. And I couldn't help but really look, and I saw Ray at the far end of the left side, and I saw his profile, and he was looking in towards the bar as if he was about to go in. And I was tempted to engage him, but they were actually immersed in a very interactive, engaged conversation, so I kept walking, I went to this gallery opening, I made a couple more stops, I went home, I lived in town. Within a very short time, I heard the fire alarm ringing, and I was astounded because I had just been in town, but you could tell it was in town. And I saw on Facebook it was McNeill's. I was equally astounded. And then the next morning, I heard the news about Ray. But what saved my feeling of total grief was this memory of these three lightly colored men of the same ilk, same build, standing together, immersed in a conversation. And if there was ever a trio of badass archangels, I was looking at them. And I don't know who the other two gentlemen were, but if you are here, I would love to meet you. So I just wanted to share that.
What a beautiful story. Thank you so much, Carrie.
All right, I was just told we're at crunch time, so we're going to have to do this really quick. My name is Ned. I'm one of the founders of the Wachusett Brewing Company down in Westminster, Mass. And I just wanted to come up and say that it's not just Brattleboro. The influence of Ray and his impact is so significant. It was so significant on my life. The first time I walked into the pub and had, for the first time ever, a hand-pumped ale that blew me out of the water. I was like, this tastes like fresh bread. This is the most amazing beer I've ever had in my life. I didn't know that I was going to go on to start a brewing company, but I did because of Ray, and because of his beer, and because of how amazing he was to us. Holiday, Eve, Reagan, they accepted us as family. We ended up adopting Ray and McNeill's as family. I went on to start a brewery, and I've hired and employed hundreds and hundreds of people over the years. We've had a great existence. I've had a great life because of Ray McNeill. This is to Ray. We love you so much and miss you already.
And now, much to the chagrin of some of us, the Morris dancers will provide a celebratory dance, but without sticks. And that's where it's kind of
Hello, everybody. All right. So everyone, it's difficult to know where to begin. We represent a large community of traditional music, dancing, singing. Some of you don't know, and some of you do, who've been around for the past 16 years. But Ray hosted so many things at McNeill's pub. There was Irish session twice a month. We had Quebecois. We had Old Time Jam, where one of our members learned to play the fiddle, where he honed his skills. We had pub sing. And we used to be able to go in, and we would push back very carefully. We'd take those big long tables, and we'd set them back, and we'd start jumping up and down. The first time I ever met Ray, I had gone in there in 1998, and I had been homesteading, raising children in Putney. And we brought a group of team in. Jake McDermott, a middle school teacher at Brattleboro Middle School, had died and been brought back to life. And we had an event where we honored him. It was called Jake Tuesday, but we went in there. It was 1998, and we were organizing a tour. And I had never done this before. I had never sung a pub song, and so it was my very first night. And but I want to say a lot of things, and I'm trying to keep it short. All right. Who is this? Really? Gracious. All right. Well, in any case, we're going to do a dance. It's called I-91. We love to do it on Elliott Street. I can't begin to tell you how many things Ray did for the Morris community, and how much he valued us.
Please move back just a little bit to allow space. I know you already have been so respectful about that, but just so they can actually dance. This is for Ray. Happy Ray Day, everyone! Happy Ray Day!
proper shout out to Hefty.
Let us not forget how Hefty was just another one of us, tiny misfits that Ray just made the aisle so we could all congregate on. So this is what Hefty wanted to say, and it's verbatim. I'm sad that I can't be there. Ray was one of my first friends I had when I came to Brattleboro. I helped move him into his apartment. I worked for him and on for many years. Sorry, his grammar's a little wonky. He was the first one who showed up the day my daughter was born. We had our ups and downs, but he always called me his friend. And I will always thank him for creating the McNeill's legacy that has brought so many wonderful people together over 30 years. Thank you, Ray. Love you. Hope you finally got your $5 fucking bucks. Everyone knows our Hefty's words. Up next, we have a dear friend of Ray's, Matt Jacobson, who also, if you're enjoying this slideshow, all of your submissions on the Friends of McNeill's page, personally submitted via text or what have you, this is Matt Jacobson. He put that together. So give it up, he's going to say a few words. Thank you.
People can move back into the space. We promise no more dancers with sticks.
Well, sticks were not allowed to begin with.
Sticks are not allowed. So there's a lot. It's been great seeing all the people that I haven't seen in years, all these old friends. It's also been great to make new friends, and Emily's been doing an incredible job putting this together. So let's get a round of applause. So, I don't normally get nervous before I speak. I've been doing this a lot, but I am nervous because I've got a little bit of a turn in the punch bowl speech coming on this one. You know, with all of us, we had interesting and complicated relationships with Ray, and mine was no different. And reading the stuff on the Facebook page and hearing from his family and his close friends, I thought that there was some other stuff that needed to be said, and I'm one of these people who has a really hard time not saying things that maybe I shouldn't, so I'm gonna. But before I do that, I just want to say that there's a rule in comedy, not that this is comedy, that, you know, punching up is okay, but punching down is not. You can punch laterally. If you're Jewish, you can make fun of Jewish people. If you're black, you can make fun of black people. So before I go any further in what I have to say, I just want to say that my name's Matt and I'm an alcoholic. As an alcoholic, I did some of my best drinking at Dewey's and McNeill's, and some of the best of that with Ray. I spent more than a decade with more nights at one of the two of those bars, McNeill's and $3 Dewey's. More nights than not, far more. For 5 years I lived in a cabin in West Brattleboro. It was 10 feet by 20 feet, and I had no running water or electricity. And McNeill's was my living room. This was before cell phones, and Chris will remember that when my mom wanted to get a hold of me, she would call me at McNeill's. The rest of the years that I lived in Brattleboro, McNeill's was my living room too. In fact, the one time that I lost my license through a DUI, I solved the problem of not being able to drink by getting an apartment just next door to McNeill's. I don't think that's what they had in mind when they took my license away. But McNeill's wasn't just my living room, it was everyone's living room. It was a place that had more of a sense of community than any place of any type that I had ever frequented before or since. I met old friends there nightly, and I often made new ones. I celebrated my victories there, and I mourned my failures. I went there to nurse my last broken heart, and I went there to provoke my next one. It wasn't just me, it was all of us. McNeill's was the beating heart of my generation in this town. It was a small town, and this was our place. McNeill's was our island of misfit toys. We had a saying back then that if you met someone at McNeill's that you wanted to date, just wait. This was the house that Ray built. The Beats had city lights, the hippies had Haight-Ashbury. My generation in Brattleboro, we had McNeill's. And I find it hard to believe, but it seems from the sharings and the postings on Facebook and these pictures that that tradition continued even after I left, all the way to the beginning of the pandemic. And presiding over all of it, in the brewery, in the basement, behind the bar, or in that seat by the door demanding the $5 that you owed him, was Ray. I had the privilege of knowing Ray as a young man, just getting started at $3 Dewey's, just getting started brewing his own beer, building his own pub. His passion, his commitment, his enthusiasm and love for the craft were inspiring and unmatched. Even after years of receiving medals and esteem, he approached each new project like a 7-year-old trying to make explosives with their first chemistry stuff. It's easy to have the tragedy of these circumstances move us towards making a saint of Ray, but we all know that he wasn't. He was tragically flawed like most of us, and his craft and his passion were fused with his flaws. They weren't the flip sides of a coin, more like the same side of a flat earth. It'd be hard to say where one left off and the other began. Ray's bar and his brew were his gift to all of us, but they were very expensive gifts for those that loved Ray, and for him too. Ray was open-hearted, generous, wide-eyed, kind, innocent, and largely undefended. And the world is no place for people like that. And alcohol provides a wonderful refuge, until it doesn't anymore. I left Brattleboro just over 2 decades ago, and I got sober shortly afterwards. I had always had hopes of returning to Brattleboro, but Amherst is as close as I got. When I got married 16 years ago, it didn't seem like such a good move to move with my new bride to a town where I had either dated, rejected, or been rejected by every woman in it. Every once in a while, passing through Brattleboro, I would come back to McNeill's and I would chat with Ray, who was often in that seat by the door, increasingly bleary-eyed. He would make fun of me for getting sober, and I would laugh. But I thought of him as a mirror, where I would have been in my disease if I hadn't stopped. I loved him just as much, but he got harder and harder to talk to. And like so many others here, I wish that there was something that I could have done to help. I'm well aware that many a pint would be hoisted in Ray's honor today, and I support that, and I'll join you with a club soda or kombucha. But I also want to encourage those of you who already know that it's a problem for you to perhaps honor Ray and his friends and family and yours by putting yours down. If it's still working for you, then good on you, but if it isn't, I just want you to know that there is an alternative. And if you want, I'll be happy to talk to you. I'm really sad to say goodbye to Ray. And Ray was my brother and my friend, and I'm going to miss him. Thanks.
My name is Krista Porter. I just wanted to say that I've never been fired from one job so many times in my entire life, and I was fired from so I just want to tell a story about how I got my job interview with Ray. It was the summer, I want to say 1996 maybe. It was my very first day, mind you. First day running this push cart, this falafel cart on Elliott Street, and I used to serve falafel. I was push cart. I was nervous, and I'm standing there, waiting for the lunch crowd to come in, walk in, and I see this guy, just like a big guy, big oversized shirt, tie-dye shirt with big rubber boots and wild hair and a funny mustache, walking down the street. And I never set foot into McNeill's. I was busy raising kids, and my girls were really young at the time. So he comes walking by, and he's like, looking at me, like in this disgusted way. And I'm just like, hi. And he walks over to the push cart relationship, we had two hats. We had our professional hat that we were kind of like that old magazine, Comic Spy versus Spy. That was definitely like Ray and I, but we had a very dear friendship hat and family hat that we shared, and I raised my daughters at McNeill's. And I watched a lot of babies before they were created. You know, I sort of saw me like people here, and now they're still here together and married, and with children and everything. But I just want to say thank you to everyone here.
Please welcome one of Ray's favorite brewers and friends. He's going to speak some words and sing a song, and also just a reminder, very, very kindly, the Stone Church made a super exception so that the weekend before Christmas, they pushed everything back so we could have this happen before their already planned holiday events. So if we can all pour out around 3:30 so they can make their money, they donated all of this to us. Robin was one of your good friends of his family. Alex, the bar manager. OG, McNeill's family. Remy, everyone involved in this house right now was connected to or loved Ray entirely. So please let's be respectful. We're sorry we couldn't let all of you speak. We will absolutely be planning something tentatively next April to celebrate his birthday. That way more people can plan to be there for a celebration. It won't necessarily be this or at the Stone Church, but please understand that this, all of you have been heard. We're trying to get to every one of you, and just thank you so much for showing up. Let's just be respectful, clean up, head out. Otis, I'm trying to break up. Yeah. And Otis.
Hi, everybody. Hey. All right, so I knew that I was just going to talk, and so I wrote it down on my dumb phone so I wouldn't go over, but I just thought I'd represent something about the brewery and what it was like to be there for so long. So here's something short. As many of you know, I worked for Ray for 11 years. He always called me Oak Man. One of my first memories of Ray is going to a brew fest with him when I first started. We threw a bunch of kegs in a van and drove to a convention center. All these breweries had all these fancy displays that had scantily clad women in front of them. And we showed up with a tie-dye banner. Within 45 minutes, the line was so long, you couldn't see the end of it. And I'm pouring cup and cup and cup of beer. All these beer geeks and beer maniacs, as I try to hand out the beer, I look over and there's Ray. He's sitting on a keg with beer in his hand, surrounded by a whole bunch of beer nerds like he's some kind of rock star. That was Ray. So I eventually learned to brew and then eventually won the brewery. Working for Ray was often unseen. He trusted me, he trusted Chris, and Mike, and Robin, and Tim, and Hefty, and Allison, and Kevin, and Ryan, and Casey, and Rob, and Mikey, and Guillermo, and so many more knuckleheads like us to get the work done. He was the Willy Wonka, sitting and talking upstairs, while the pirate crew gave a yo-hee-ho, or an oompa-loompa downstairs. I remember the clang of the metal slide, the smell of hops, the rolling boil. I remember the filth and the mold that crept in the corners of that cramped basement where we wasted so much time in this inefficient, cockamamie, always half-broken brewery. And whose idea was it anyway to try and make it package so much award-winning beer in this ridiculous, falling-down old firehouse between Mike's Restaurant and Bushmill Block?
It was Ray and Holiday, of course. And they were right. And I never saw Ray lose his temper. I never saw him encounter a problem without a solution. And thank God he did not give a second chance or a second thought to all those people who said the whole thing was impractical or just plain impossible. It was a special place, and there will be special memories. In this worn-out place, on this worn-out street. And here's a folk song that we used to sing down there. I know you guys know it, so you guys can help me sing along.
I took out one of the verses, but you'll know. I'm a terrible guitar player, but I wouldn't know the key. Help me out if you can. I met my love by the gas works wall. I dreamed a dream by the old canal. I kissed my girl by the factory wall. Dirty old town, dirty old town. I heard a siren from the docks. I saw a train set the night on fire. I smelled the spring on a smoky wind. Dirty old town, dirty old town. Last verse. I'm gonna make me a big strong axe. Not a steel fires in the fire, and I'll cut you down like an old dead tree. Dirty old town, dirty old town. Let's do that again. Dirty old town, dirty old town, dirty old town, dirty old town.
I don't really think that he needs an introduction, but
Ray had no bedside manner. We could, and I don't need this. So if I start swearing, excuse me. Well, man. My experience with McNeill's was that before I started going there, I was actually pretty shitty about beer. I hardly drank any beer, and I drank shitty beer, and I was completely transformed. Emily was working there when I first started, that's why I was going, and I was driving a box truck with a shitty hat on, and I started drinking ESB, brewed by Orion. I'm not sure Orion is still here. But that goddamn ESB was so good. I would start thinking about it an hour before I got off of work. Couldn't wait to get there. And yeah, my first time I saw Ray, I was walking by with a delusional person, and Ray was walking in with somebody else, and someone said, "Irish Mafia, watch out for that guy." He wasn't Irish. Anyway, Ray transformed me into a whole different thing. That was the first job I've ever had in my life where I could be myself round the clock. I didn't have to change anything about me when I went into work. I could actually just be myself the whole goddamn time. You know? And God, that guy's brain. Holy shit. Did anyone remember Orange Grove? Yeah. So So it could be the day after Orange Grove came out, and the rare occasion where Ray had a few beers, maybe got a little buzzed. And he would always want me to start brews nice and early, like 8 o'clock. I'd get there at noon. It says it on the back of the shirt, why. And so when I had my problems, it was like 7 o'clock, trying to finish the brew, work cooling, shit's wrong. And I'd call Ray up, and I'd say, Ray, I messed up. And he was always completely forgiving and helpful when he made a mistake. And he could have had 4 Orange Groves, hardly even understand what he's saying at the moment. And he'd say, all right, give me 10 minutes, I'll call you back with a solution to the problem. 3 minutes later, he'd call you right back, and he would have it completely explainable, figured out. The guy's brain, it was go time whenever there was a problem. So, yeah, I just want to say, I love the guy. I was so intimidated by him when I first started working as a bartender. I never dreamed I would be lucky enough that he would become my dear friend. And, you know, I don't know, I guess that's all I have to say. He would always say, get a job. And I would say, I have one, but I didn't have a job. Ray gave me my fucking life for those times. Thank you, Ray McNeill. Thank you, Theo, for letting me sprout up like a weed behind the bar, because you were the reason I popped up behind that bar. He came in and he said, what are you doing back here? I said, I don't know. Thank you very much.
A lot of people asked if I was going to say anything, and the only thing I actually want to say is that I know how I love Ray, and I know how he loved me, and if you want to know about that, just look at all of us, like, gathered here today. That's it. I love his kids, I love our extended family, I love all of you, I love all the bartenders and people who came before. I love Theo, and love Clyde, and you hate that I just called him Clyde, but I did, and that's all I have to say about that. Thank you all for making this happen. This was made for all of us, and because we love Ray. It doesn't matter what your relationship with him or the pub was. He reached all of us. Thank you for doing all of this and filling this house with love. Up next is one of his dearest friends, and I'm so happy that I actually met Scott and his wife Ida and their kids only because of Ray. Stellar people, and Scott's going to say something and then sing something. Also, please remember we have to be out of here by 3. So let's be respectful. Clean up after yourselves where you can. Also, just, we love you. Thank you for showing up. Happy Ray Day.
Okay, folks, thank you. It's amazing. I wrote a song. I shamelessly stole the music, but I wrote the verses, as I wanted to do. And it's amazing how elements of all the verses that I wrote have all been touched upon already. It's amazing. Ray and I go way back. I mean, not quite as far as back as some other people here. But I feel very pleasant, very amazing thing to know Ray. Very lucky. I wrote a song in tribute to Ray and his beer. So this is to you, Ray. Ray is drinking at his public house in the sky. Ray is drinking at his public house in the sky. Gonna miss the man, his beer and worldly charm. Sharp, rushed and funny, and always very kind. Ale versus lager, is it fruit or is it rye? Warm but cool, the beer was mighty fine. Word is the liquid he needed to make his beer. Brewing yeast, fermenting as he steers. Science aside, give me 6 or 8 years. Taproot sprout from shiny catamount. ESP or dead or still alive, lose count. Warlord and Lazarus, ruby, green mountain gold. Ray is drinking at his public house in the sky. Ray is drinking at his public house in the sky. Gonna miss the man, his beer and worldly charms. ESB was a pint of liquid star. That hazy ale may well have come from Mars. Pair it with a bowl of his chili or gumbo. Ray held court in his well-worn sunken space. Beer-loving misfits scattered around the place. We tossed that ring till we were all shit-faced. Ray is drinking at his public house in the sky. Ray is drinking at his public house in the sky. Gonna miss the man, his beer and worldly charm.
Thank you everyone for being here. Again, I'm not trying to be redundant, but up next are some of Ray and Theo's closest friends. We all love Theo, and obviously this has been very, very difficult for her. So she asked these lovely, lovely beings to speak on her behalf and on theirs for everyone. And we'll be closing out the night after that. Okay? Thank you so much.
Muchísimas gracias. Bienvenidos todos. Queremos hablar de la comunidad de Ray, que no está muy conocido. Speaking English also. I wanted to introduce part of a community that might not be so known, that was a big part of Ray, a big part of us, and it's the Latino community here in Brattleboro. And Ray always gave us a place where we could feel safe to speak our language, hacer las bromas, have the jokes, estar como nosotros, ourselves, without people looking at us and thinking we're talking about them. And it always made us feel really happy and really safe and warm, and quiero respetar esto. I want to respect and recognize that part of Ray. We love you, Ray. We miss you.
Can everyone be just a little bit quieter for 1 second, please? Thank you so much. Rocio is not feeling up for speaking to you, but I just want to remind you to give her a hug. And, you know, this is a very big loss for all of us, but it's a bigger loss than mine is Rocio. So I just want to extend that. Love you all. Thank you.
You know, time is short or long, we don't know. Accordance in accordance with the sparkle of continuance, as well as the who knows what. Let's do a little song together. For ourselves in all infinity. It's a sing-along. Oh wait, I gotta get my ceremonial memory hat on. You can just feel that this is superimposed on top of your own head. That's it all. Every song is an invitation. So this is gonna start, if you wanna hum with me, and then we can end up at the end of the song doing whatever you feel. That's your instructions. That's what I got to give you. I don't know if you ever learned how to hum. If you haven't yet, just remind you're twiddling every age that you already know. Glass lifted, raise the sky, and hold dear place in space and self in time. And at this point you could go, you could do anything else. This is just a spatial reminder of all that dwells here. Oh, the miracle of being, the seen and the unseen, and the bright flash and the ripple spread of our lives. At this point you could go, or you could just hum in the future. Oh, raise a glass with the hearts held, with the hearts held. Oh, for dreams lived and raise a glass of alchemy's art fruiting. You're incredible. Y'all are all incredible, but this human is really incredible. I don't know if you can just raise a glass of alchemy's art fruiting for teeming rooms filled with laughter and song and togetherness. Heads to our hearts, heads to our hearts. beyond. I think we probably don't have enough time for this side of the scroll, but it's a stand-in for everything else that'll happen as we twiddle our bodies and our souls. Oh, and how in our hearts there is such a holding. Let's speak of the lives that have lived and carry love's light glowing. Let's tell our friends of our care, and let's heed. Let's heed this world like a becking call. Raise a glass, raise a glass, raise the sky, feel the ground. Tears fall and water the blues of memory. Etc. It curtsies. All the hearts of everyone in this room. Etc. You can feel the hallelujah melting down to some sort of raw substance that you can just disseminate into anything you care about. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great to be here with everybody. It's kind of bittersweet, but I always subscribe to the New Orleans style of celebrating somebody's life as opposed to New Orleans. McNeill's was definitely a place of bringing people together and friendships, and it feels that way today. So it's nice to be here with all you people and seeing some familiar faces after all these years.
This is your time. This is
is your day. Can't think of anybody that could do it any better. When you smile that way, can't think of anything to make you feel better. You smile and make me feel better. Yeah. You smile and make me feel better. Yeah. Make me feel better. Yeah. Maybe sometime, maybe someday, let me show you how to make me feel so much better. And if you don't mind, maybe someday, never realize nothing else is close to me. Everything's gone, make me feel better. Yeah. Everything's gone, make me feel better. Yeah. Make me feel better. Yeah. Maybe sometime, maybe someday, let me show you how to make me feel so much better. If you don't mind, maybe someday, never there's nothing else is close to me. Everything's going on, make me feel better. Make me feel better. Yeah. Make me feel better. Yeah. This is your time, this is your day. Can't think of anybody that can do it better. You smile that way. Can't think of anything to make you feel better. You smile and make me feel better. Yeah. You smile and make me feel better. Yeah. Make me feel better. Yeah. Make me feel better. Yeah. Make me feel better. Yeah.
friendships that I've had that started at McNeill's and lifetime friendships. It's just amazing to be here. I want to thank Robin and the Stone Church and Emily for putting this thing together. It's just great to be here.
So, there have been so many good times at McNeill's. So many times you walk through the door and you feel like home. You feel like you're stepping into your living room and you see all your friends, and it's just a wonderful place. There have been a lot of good nights, a lot of crazy nights, nothing too crazy. You know, there have been some crazy, wild, fun times. And there's also the element of Ray being like a mad scientist who's making these incredible brews and these amazing flavor combinations. So this next song that we're about to do is one that we like to do. It's a medley that combines having a party and also being in Frankenstein's lab.
we're all gonna die. When we do, what's it all for? We're gonna live life before the big river comes knocking on the door. Are we gonna let you know the rain comes down? Oh no, let's go crazy. Let's get nuts. Look for trouble until it put us in let's go crazy. Let's get nuts. Look for trouble until it put us in trouble. Thank you so much. We love you guys. It's so good to see so many beautiful faces.